Hi everyone, I'm Shaylin here with Reedsy, and today let's talk about how to write faster. So you may be writing a book, but it might feel like it's taking you a really long time. So here are some tricks and techniques that you can implement into your writing process in order to maybe quicken up the writing just a little bit. Tip number 1, try writing in a distraction-free environment. It's pretty basic advice, but it really does work. This might involve leaving the house. I write a lot in coffee shops or in libraries. Personally, I find that I'm way more productive than if I'm writing at home. Or if you just want to stay home but you find that the internet is a big distraction for you, you can use an app to block your internet or block certain websites. So if you still want access to the internet, maybe to do research or use a thesaurus, but you don't want to spend 2 hours just messing around on Twitter, you can use an app like Self-Control or Cold Turkey to block certain websites for a certain amount of time. Number 2, you can try doing word sprints. So a word sprint is when you set a timer and try to just write as much as you can in that amount of time without stopping, without checking anything. People usually sprint for between 10 minutes to half an hour, and it's often something writers do with other friends of theirs. So for example, if you have someone that you like to write with often, you might decide to do a word sprint together, do your word sprint at the same time, and then maybe share and compare what you wrote at the end. If you find that you don't have much time in the day, word sprints might be a really easy way to incorporate a consistent routine into your schedule. You could do a 20-minute word sprint in the morning and another 20-minute word sprint in the evening, and you might actually be able to make substantial progress on your book just doing those 2 20-minute writing sessions every day, because they're really focused writing sessions where you're getting a lot done. Number 3, you can try the Pomodoro Technique. The Pomodoro Technique was invented for overall productivity in a lot of different cases, but it applies really well to writing. Basically what you do is work for 25 minutes at a time with a 3 to 5 minute break in between each session. Then after 4 working sessions, you take a longer break of around 10 to 15 minutes. There are apps for this that you can check out where it'll do all the timing for you. Step 4, set small daily achievable goals or rewards. Lots of people work really well with a reward system, but it might be less motivating if that reward is a really long way away, if you're not going to treat yourself to your reward until you finish the entire book. Maybe it would be easier to implement a small-scale goal and reward system for your daily writing sessions. You can try setting small goals that you can fairly easily achieve each day. Say, writing 300 words. This isn't that much, but it means that it's kind of easily within your reach, so you'll probably feel fairly motivated to try and reach it, especially if you also have a small reward that goes along with it. Say, if you get your writing done, then you can watch an episode of whatever show you're in the middle of. Number 5, bypass difficult scenes or paragraphs for the time being. Lots of writers slow down their writing process quite significantly because they reach a scene or a paragraph that they don't know how to write, and they just kind of struggle over it and tinker with it forever and never make any progress. If you feel like you've reached this point in your writing process and there's a scene that you don't know how to write and you've been stuck at it for weeks, try just putting in a little placeholder and coming back to it later. And along with that, you can use a placeholder instead of falling into the thesaurus rabbit hole. This is something that I admit I do fairly often. I'll spend 20 minutes just digging through a thesaurus because there's a word that is just on the tip of my tongue that I can't remember what it is, but I feel like it exists out there, and most of the time I never even find it. If this is something that happens to you often and it really slows down your writing process, you can try just using a placeholder. A common trick that a lot of writers use is to just use the capital letters TK every time they don't know what word to use. This is because that letter combination doesn't appear very often in the English language. So at the end, it's very easy for you to search in your document TK, and all of your placeholders will come up, and it won't get mixed in with a bunch of other words. 7, try writing without looking at your screen. If you have a wireless keyboard, you can take it over to the other side of the room, or you can just turn the brightness on your laptop all the way down. If you feel like you easily get distracted and it's often your impulse to just edit and pick up the writing while you're drafting, this can be a really easy way to kind of just let yourself write and not get caught up in editing as you're writing. It can be kind of weird to not see what you're writing as you're writing it, but if you combine this with something like a word sprint, you may be able to really get a lot done because you're not distracted even by your own words. If you feel like you're not a very quick typer, or again, if you often get distracted by editing, another thing you can try doing is using speech to text to dictate your manuscript. You can set this up through Microsoft Word, through Google Speech to Text, or you can use a more expensive software like Dragon Professional if you think that this is really something you want to invest in. Dictating your manuscript might mean that you have to go over it with a bit more edits afterwards because it's going to catch all of your ums and all of your mistakes. But it might allow you to just get the scene out really naturally if you feel like it's in your head but you struggle to actually type it. And as a final tip, try playing the scene through in your head before you write. If you feel like you often get stuck with writer's block, each time you sit down to write a new scene, try to take 5 minutes to sit down and just think through the scene like it's a movie playing in your head, and then transcribe it. This can help you choreograph the scene a little more clearly so that you don't have to do that while you're writing. So those are some tips on how to write faster. We do have another video on writing productivity hacks that I will leave a link to in the description if you really want to increase your productivity even more. So thank you so much for watching, and remember to subscribe for new writing, editing, and publishing videos every Tuesday and Friday. Until next time, bye!